So you already saying that, you know, at 20 years old, dating in these Nairobi streets has not been easy. That's it in a nutshell.
It's not easy for nobody, but I think for a foreigner, it's much more complicated. But also, there's benefits. Like it's a give and take.
What's the benefit?
Well,
what's the benefit? Go ahead. Just tell it all of it. Just tell it all.
Here's the thing, right? Without the accent, I'm still quite charming, handsome, tall. So listen, if there was a package, you'd have my face on it. All right. My accent just puts icing on the cake. All right. So it just allows me to get in contact with some people that it'll be harder for regular guys. You get in certain rooms with regular guys. There's certain like benefits of it because they just assume you have money. I use the assumption to my advantage.
Okay, you can pull more ladies with the accent and the foreign.
I mean, I pull ladies.
Welcome to BLAXIT to Africa. I'm your host, Tadre Delora Mournier, a native Californian living her best life in Nairobi, Kenya. I hope that you are informed, entertained, and inspired to BLAXIT to Africa. Thank you for coming along for the ride. This episode is a special one. I've been trying to get this guy in here for a long time. He will be my first male guest, and he's also a member of the Hebrew Israelite community. If you're wondering what is that, we're going to find out today. I'm so proud of him. I love his work ethic. He's a good person, and without further ado, let's bring him on.
Can't do that, baby.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Can we get started, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
So aggressive.
I mean, why are we here today? Okay.
Don't look at me like that. Breathing so hard.
Exacerbate me. Okay. So here he is. Yatsiliel Briggs. What is so funny? He makes me laugh.
I don't.
And he calls himself your favorite Hebrew.
No. I didn't say your favorite Hebrew. Your least favorite Hebrew.
You're okay. He'll be your least favorite Hebrew.
I promise you. Yeah.
Nickname Silly.
No, whoa.
It's not silly?
It's not silly. It's silly. And that's what my friends call me.
Oh, it's TS.
It's a TS.
Okay, we won't call him Silly.
My boys call me.
Yatsiliel Briggs is here, and I'm very excited to have him. Even though he showed up an hour late, that's all right.
An hour? You said 10:30. It was 11.
Oh, you're right. A half hour late.
Listen, you don't blame like Jeff Bezos for like flying in late. Like it's just he's a businessman. You're doing big man things. Like Betty Guy would say, big man things. I'll take care of business.
So as we can see, he is Gen Z, and he'll be my second Gen Z guest. And I'm so interested to discover his perspective, just to find out how Kenya has been, to hear his whole story. Very interesting. Okay, so let's just start off with what you do.
How y'all doing? I'm Yatsiliel. In professionals, we call me Mr. Briggs. I do digital marketing. I do PR. I work in tech. Let's sum it up to I work in tech and a couple of real estate. Yeah, so I'm a businessman. Yeah, I'm a businessman. Let's something about that.
Tell the people how we met.
Okay. So my family, we launched a vegan restaurant, the first and I think it's the only 100% vegan restaurant here in Nairobi, Kenya. And they had me on doing the marketing, whatever. And I was also like doubling as a server. So I was moving around. I saw Tadre. I didn't know how old she was. I didn't know anything. So I saw it. I was like, yo, man, she looked cute. So I was like, hey, yo, what's her name? This and the other. Low-key a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, wow, this is interesting. I knew she was American. I talked to her. She was from LA, this and the other. And then she's like, boy, I'm old enough to be your mom. And I was like, word. It should have like took me off, but I was like more interested. And I was like, mom. Yeah, anyway, so that's how we met.
Okay, we're gonna keep it PG.
You know.
And then, you know, we talked, you and your sister, we sat down, you guys gave me a lot of history about like what you're doing here, what life was like in Israel. I was familiar with Hebrew Israelites from living in DC. I lived in Washington, DC for 13 years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so I would go to the soul veg restaurants in the DMV. There's a soul vegetarian across the street from Howard University.
Yeah, my mom worked there. Yeah.
She did?
No. My mom that's in the States. She works there now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Food banging. Like, it's so good that non-vegans eat there on a regular. And then I would drive out to PG County. There was a larger restaurant out there. I would go out there for like my Sunday brunch to get my vegan scrambled eggs, my waffles, all that good stuff. Yes. So, and then like, I don't know much about Hebrew Israelites at all, because then, you know, you would see on the app, you would see these Hebrew Israelites dressed like they were from Jesus' time. And then they would have like a mic and a little portable speaker, and they would be chastising the people in the streets. You know, you eating that swine, you don't know who you are, my brother, you know what I'm saying? So when I think of Hebrew Israelites, it's either those guys or the restaurant.
That's crazy.
So can you explain to us briefly, or maybe in detail, about being a Hebrew Israelite? What is your belief system? What is the lifestyle?
All right. Being a Hebrew Israelite, in a way, it means being a descendant of the children of Israel, which we know come from, well, if you look at Africans here, specifically even Kenya, East Africa, then you have direct descendants from King Solomon and King David. So you have like direct descendants even in Ethiopia. So we believe as Black people, especially like people taken from Africa during Mzungu times, then so we believe that we are the chosen people. And well, God's promise to Abraham in Genesis that we'll give you land, this, that, and the other. So those, I think it was 12 promises, I'm not sure. But there was a couple promises that God made. And so we believe that we are the chosen people. We believe in God, not Jesus. We believe in God. Yes, Jesus is God. We don't call him Jesus, we call him Yeshua. What else? What else would you like to know?
Okay, so what text do you follow? Is there a text like the Bible or the Quran?
So we follow the Bible, the Old Testament. That's specific. The Old Testament. Because I read the New Testament and I realized the detail difference is crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, very different.
And when you say we believe we are the chosen people, are you referring to Africans that were stolen from Africa are the chosen people?
Africans in general.
Just Africans in general.
If you look at, you ever heard of the, I think it's called the Apocrypha? It's basically, it's hidden books or books that wasn't added to the Bible. And if you look at like the Book of Yesha, the Book of Yesha describes how from Noah, his 3 sons, how they populated the earth. They talk about the different cities, where it's in like in Asia, in Africa, different places like that. So even like some of the major cities that you have now are just like newer versions of the older cities. And you see how those sons and their sons and their sons, like it really gives you a very detailed description of how these places got populated. And Africa being one of them, in Asia, in Europe, this and the other. So most, like I'd say most, at least in East Africa that I know of, most people, especially like the old tribes, Kikuyu, Luas, they can trace their lineage back directly to King Solomon, King David, 12 different tribes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating stuff the more you get into it.
I haven't read any of the missing books. Do you guys have access to those?
Yeah. You can find them on the net. I've been reading the Book of Yesha, the Book of Adam and Eve, and the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch is too deep even for me. Like I read it and I'm just like, whoa. The things you don't know is crazy.
Okay, so you don't necessarily believe in Jesus Christ as the Savior, but you do read the Bible, that is the sacred text, the Old Testament. Now, when you say chosen people, the first thing in my head is like chosen for what?
To establish the kingdom of God. to be that beacon of light, that beacon of righteousness in a way, where we have this thing where we wear fringes and cords of blue, our t-shirts, garments, whatever. But it's basically a way to recognize, okay, you're like me. So no matter where I am in the world, and like even around here, when I walk around and somebody from Israel, they see me, they're like, oh, Atam Israel, like you from Israel? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, yo, I visit your community. It's like a way of symbolizing this is where you're from. I could recognize you, and it's a certain energy that goes along with that. It's like you know someone's here for righteousness. Like this person isn't going to do you wrong, isn't going to do harm upon you. And so I guess that chosen, it's a responsibility mostly to, like, everybody I meet, I can't help it but to go, hey, Yatsiliel, where are you from? I'm from Israel, Hebrew Israelites. And you can't have one without the other. You can't have I'm Yatsiliel without the Hebrew Israelites, without the Israel, without, there's like a long thing that goes along to it. And 9 times out of 10, it fascinates people in a way that's like, let me get your number. We need to talk. We need to sit down again. I need to understand more about you because I've never met somebody like you.
I've definitely experienced that firsthand, because when I talk to people in Kenya about the restaurant, Soul Veg, and when I tell them, oh, it's a Hebrew Israelite community that owns and operates it, people are really intrigued. Mm-hmm. They want to know more. So let's talk about the lifestyle. I know you guys are vegan. Mm-hmm. For what reason?
Health. Okay. It says it in the Bible to be vegan in Genesis 1, Bereshit Aleph Kaftet 29. Genesis 1 and 29. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. I think it's 1 and 29 though. But it's most like, if you look at it from a health benefit, non-religious, it's a health benefit. If any doctor tell you, like, you get old, and this is the example I give people. You get old, you get some kind of disease, the doctors tell you one thing: cut out meat, eat more fruits and vegetables, and have a more plant-based diet. They don't say go vegan, because you can't say that to people. But they say have a more plant-based diet. No matter what disease it is, it's always a plant-based diet.
That's true. And
my personal logic on it is, what if you started that plant-based diet from the get-go? How healthy would you be? What kind of diseases would you have avoided? And it just makes sense to me. And you look at the benefits and like the upsides and the downsides to it. For me personally, it's common sense. That's where you should be, or that's the right thing that you should be consuming.
Okay. Now, the other thing I know about your community, well, I think I know, is it's a community for real. Mm-hmm. Like, y'all don't work for nobody else. Mm-hmm. You work for each other. It's a very communal environment where you have businesses that belong to the community and are operated by the community, and the profits are shared by the community. Is that correct?
Partly. There's people like you get out of school or whatnot, and there's different jobs you can do inside of the community. Like, mostly, I don't think I've ever worked a job outside of my community, because I've always been, well, people like offer me jobs. I'm a hard worker. So people's like, okay, that's Leo, this, that, and the other. But you have people that go out and work outside of the community. But my thing is, it's always like a full circle kind of situation, where you find people that leave out, go, do their thing, explore, work, and they always end up coming back to the community. It's a full circle kind of situation, because there's nothing, there's no place like home. Mm-hmm. It's that same kind of situation, where you're a Hebrew, you're bound to be a Hebrew no matter where you go. You can't escape it. But yes, the profits are shared in the community. So we have our own supermarket, our own factory, our own clothing line, fashion, not developers, fashion people. Let's call them fashion people, designers. Mm-hmm. So our own boutique, restaurants, whatnot. So like all of those things, that ecosystem is all within the community. So you don't have to. You can, but you don't have to go outside the confines of our community to get what you need. It's like very rare.
Is it a situation where it's like, okay, I have this store and I own it, and I don't share with the community? Does that exist? Like private ownership?
So like, you can have businesses,
okay,
and they be your business. It's just 9 times out of 10 your demographic, for like your target demographic for your marketing is the community, because your people. I mean, Indians sell to Indians, Chinese sell to Chinese. Although they sell to other people,
right?
The people they're trying to provide it for is their people first. Okay. And everybody else, you can come and do whatever.
Gotcha.
But like most stuff is like, okay, how can I service Hebrews? Like over 90% of the businesses were made by Hebrews for Hebrews, whether it's yoga, whether it's clothing, whether it's like a product. Your biggest clientele is Hebrews.
Okay, so talk to me about some of the businesses that you guys have in Kenya right now.
Okay. So in Kenya, we have an organic agriculture company. We also have 100% vegan restaurant. We also own we started a school. So we have a school, restaurant, agriculture. We have a music studio if anybody interested in that. What else?
There's more, but those are the
those
major ones.
Those like the major ones. I mean, my sister has a hot sauce business, and my other sister's an author, and we have marketing, we have graphic design. Everything you need to start a business, you can find it within the confines of this jurisdiction.
Okay, I like that. I love that. Okay, so the other thing that I understand about Hebrew Israelites, I don't think it's every sect, right? Because there's different sects. But within your community, plural marriages are okay.
Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Okay.
But I think plural marriage is good in terms of like the right way of doing it. Because there's a right way and there's like the wrong way completely of doing it. The right way is me, my wife, Isha, right? We get together, wife, whatever, start children. The point is population. So let's say we have children. You can only have children every 9 months. Okay, let's say you have a lot of children. You need someone to help you take care of those children. So the husband goes, finds someone. No, first he asks his wife, are you all right with this? Because, I mean, she got to deal with it also. It's not just a you situation. Right. That's very selfish. But you ask her, she says, all right, I'm open to it. You go, you find someone, and you bring that, like, you go and you say, hey, where do you want this girl, this woman? And she goes, yeah, okay. So now they call it Mikodesha. Not Mikodesha, but you're pursuing her. That's what they call it, you're pursuing her. And so, for me, the right way to do it is you have to make sure that you have enough money financially. You have to have enough resources to take care of this family completely. All it needs is, before you go out and get another one. You can't be food stamps and be like, I'm gonna bring food stamps for everybody. No, you have to have enough money to take care of this person,
right.
and this. If that's what you want to do, there's a responsibility that goes along with that, which is you have to be able to take care of that person, financial, all these services, their kids, because it's not just because if you have 3 wives, they have like let's say they all have 5 kids. That's a lot of kids. You have to be able to take care of them 3 wives, those 3 families. It's like 3 separate families.
And then 15 kids.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
And you got to take care of them 15 kids, so they're all like what, 18? It's a lot of money. But if you can do that, then that's the way to do it.
So what's the basis? Is it again the Old Testament?
I think it is, but it's mostly like if you look at Islam, they can have multiple wives, and like a lot of different, even in Kenya, a lot of the different tribes here, like the idea of plural marriage isn't something new, something fabricated. It's something that it makes sense also because the bigger the family, it's like a unit. Think of it like an army. If I have 9 siblings. Like, say my brother's a lawyer, my sister's a doctor, my other sister's a chef, my other sister's an author, my other sister this, my brother this, my brother this. That's a lot of people doing a lot of stuff. You can accomplish so many things with just those 10 children. And that's the point of it, to have a unit of people that's like, we can get things done. Something happens, we have this many people that can take care of it. And if every family was like that, then you should have like a strong, multiple units of people that's just capable and competent. So
when it's your time to have a family, is that something you think you'd like?
Somebody asked me that recently. I personally don't think so because
I heard you say pregnant. What did you say?
Nah, I said I personally.
Okay.
I personally don't think so because this modern woman feminist thing is not my cup of tea. I don't need a man, these women that they got out here. Listen, if I can go back to like the 1960s, cut me a little wife, bring her back, I have plural marriage all over. These women was nice, feminine, lovely. These days, I don't need a man, You got nothing for me.
Where are you getting this from?
Listen.
Are you getting this from media or is
Media.
this real life?
Listen, I've been out here, not in the streets, but I've been out here. I listen and I have enough female friends to know you find one good one, you're good. You're one. One good one that's gonna stick with you, ups and downs, not ride or die, but like ups and downs, a people that will take care of you. You good. Why go out and find another one, you know? You go into mine.
Okay, so we went all the way around the mulberry bush just for you to come back and say, hey, it's not for me. I just need
that's
one good
but that's the reason why, though.
What?
All that extra stuff, I don't like it.
We go back and forth. Hey, beautiful people. I just wanted to take a moment away from this interview to express to you that I have a passion for fashion. I know it sounds corny, but I love getting dressed, I love dressing people, and I love sharing with people. So if you happen to be in Nairobi anytime soon, I implore you to book one of my eclectic fashion tours in Nairobi. You can do this on Airbnb Experiences exclusively. And I promise you, regardless of your gender, regardless of your style, there is something here for you. Finding something unique, different in Kenya can be a bit difficult, but I have sussed out where to go and where not to go. I look forward to seeing you. So I really only know of your family, and I came to the restaurant launch, so it seems like there's a lot of people here from your community. How many people would you say are here in Kenya?
So when you came, when you came to the restaurant, we had just gotten a month earlier. Mm-hmm. So by then it was Veggie Guy, Maaba, about 10 of them. It's about 15 of us.
15 people?
In total, yeah, I think.
Oh, I don't know why I thought it was so many people.
No.
And what about globally? Do you know that number?
I have no. It's a lot of people because you have jurisdictions in the UK, in the US, and in the US is the most jurisdictions. But in Israel, we also just have a community of people just spread out everywhere. Like there's not a city you can go to in Israel you don't run into a Hebrew, at least one. Like it's a really weird thing about the coincidence of you being in that city and you run into a Hebrew. Like whenever you need help, there's a Hebrew in that city somewhere.
How many people do you think it is in Israel?
Couple thousand.
Yeah. It's really, really interesting to me because when you were talking about okay, you need somebody to take care of the kids and the husband finds another woman, mm-hmm. I was recruited.
You were recruited.
This woman tried to recruit me to be a second wife when I was a student in Ghana. I was 21. And, I was moderating this talk at the University of Ghana. I was a foreign exchange student there. And this woman comes up to me afterwards and she was like, you know what, you're so beautiful, but you don't need that lipstick. And I was like, who the hell, who is this? So I was like, who is this? And she was like, I would love for you to come to my house. So apparently there's a jurisdiction in Ghana as well.
Yeah.
They have their own little cul-de-sac, beautiful homes. It was nice. She invited me there for lunch. I didn't know what the real purpose of the meeting was. Mm. Okay, I thought I was just going there for lunch. This was in the early 90s. Mm. And so I had no idea what a vegan was. So she fed me a vegan lunch and I was like, oh my God. It's not used. And then after all of that, she had her husband come out and look me over. I think she was pretty high. Huh?
You should have part of my community.
I am positive.
Right.
I think he's a major guy. I think I've seen him on literature and talks, whatever. So it was a 2-story home and I was sitting downstairs on the couch and she was like, oh, I would like to introduce you to my husband. And he came out and he had on these kind of, what is it called? Like a thobe, like a white thobe. And he looked at me and whatever it was about me, he did not like. But she was trying to talk me into it. She was just like, we do have plural marriages and we help each other out. So she was selling me this whole sister wife thing. And I was like,
yeah, sister wife.
First of all, you done served me a meal with no meat.
Of course.
And now you talking about, I can help you out. She was like, you can still continue your education. You could be a lawyer and the other wives can have the kids. You don't even really have to have. I was like, okay. I left out of there and never came back. It was a concept that was just so foreign to me.
It's foreign law.
Hi, good people. I just wanted to take a moment away from the interview to just talk to you a little bit about what I do, what I offer. As you know, Black people thriving all over the world is one of my passions. And I wanted to let you know that I do offer consultation services. It's very organic. Just tap me in my DMs on Instagram and say, hey, look, I am interested in BLAXITing to Africa and I need your expertise. I've been coming to Africa since I was 18 years old, okay? I've been living in East Africa since January of 2018. I have some insight to share. Before you sell all your things, before you book your flight, before you ship everything you own to Africa, give me a shout. I can tell you about the do's and the don'ts. And if I don't have the answers, I will put you in touch with someone who does. So let's back up a little bit. I want to talk to you about what brought you and your family to Kenya and how long you been here.
What got us here was a situation our family was in Israel. I'm not going to get into the details, it's a bit political. But it was in a situation in Israel, and my dad was like, yeah, start packing. I was like, fam, is this gonna happen? He was like, yeah. I was like, cool. And me personally, I had like a 5-year plan to stay in Israel. I had a job in sales. Like, I had a couple jobs already lined up for when I got out of high school. He was like, bet. So I had people who was like, get out of high school, come work for me, make this amount of money. So in my mind, my 5 years was set. I was making enough. I was making more than enough money to sustain myself, and I had enough money to sustain enough people. I was like, cool, this is good. And then that situation happened. I was like, geez, what the heck am I doing in Kenya? And like, I've never like lived with my dad. So it kind of was like getting to know someone you're supposed to love, which is it's an experience, that's for sure.
So essentially, what we haven't mentioned about Hebrew Israelites is that the belief is that we are originally from Israel. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's the belief, that we're originally from Israel. So ultimately, you know, it seems like the goal for many is to move back to Israel. So if you hadn't told me that you were Israeli, then I wouldn't have known, because you have an American accent. Your parents were born and raised in the U.S., right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so would it be safe to say that like English was your first language, because you spoke English in the home, right? Mm-hmm. And then you went out into the world, you spoke Hebrew. Yeah. So your community went there, you established communities, and the foreign minister at that time gave you guys a special pass to be there, special permission, and then there was a new foreign minister that came in that revoked that.
Yeah, so Israel works, like Israel doesn't have a constitution like the States.
Okay.
So in the States, you have a constitution, how you become a citizen, this, that, and the other. In Israel, there's no constitution. So basically, guys can come together and go, today is this, tomorrow is that.
There's no constitution?
Yeah, so the laws can change on a flip of a
Oh, wow.
So that's why Israel has stayed like Israel, like it is today.
Oh my gosh.
So, like one foreign minister, was it foreign minister? Some guy in the government, he met with our leader or whatever. He was like, okay, you guys are here doing this. I have no problem with you. Okay. So he set up a plan that allowed, like, so I think it was a 5-year plan that allowed you to go from being not a citizen to a citizen, do the army, this and the other. And then another guy came, he was like, no. He was like, could you have different groups? Right? You have like Republican and Democrat. So you have like, so you have different groups like that in Israel, where you have like Orthodox Jews, Hiloni, they're more like your freer Jews, I guess. They're more modern, woke. I don't know what you want to call it. They just don't follow the laws to like So based upon who is in office, then the laws will change, and based on how much they like black people, then the laws will change also. And especially since, well, we kind of a threat, I guess, to them, but not in that way. It's like we are who we are, and we're not shy about it. You know, we're not hiding who we are. Where we say we're Hebrews, and you got, oh, I'm Jewish, like I'm a Hebrew. It's two different things with two different meanings also. And because Jewish just means like, oh, I'm Christian. You can be Christian today, Islamic tomorrow, and basically same thing with Judaism. But Hebrew means I'm a direct descendant of the tribe of Judah, of Israel. And that's way deeper than I'm some European guy from Europe who got on the boat and was like, Jewish.
I see.
Yeah, so it plays a is much deeper than just guys who don't like us because we're black and guys who do like us. So it based upon who's in office, based upon, because you also have people pulling strings in the background, like you have in the Knesset, you have like this council where these guys, they really don't like black people. These like your Orthodox, all they do, they get paid to read the Bible. Like these are big shots. And so basically in our community, then you have different systems at different times. So like my brother, he was going through a different system than the system I went through. So his political, his status, his citizenship situation is much different from mine. And so it's like, it's very fractured between people who have, who don't have.
Citizenship.
Yeah, and the ability to do certain things. Like the first thing they ask you in practically everything after you're 18 is citizenship. Whether it's sales, real estate, car license, house, mortgage, you can't, without Israeli citizenship in Israel, you can literally practically do nothing. You get paid way less. In Israel without citizenship, you practically, you're screwed really. Like whether it's driver's license, home rental, whether it's child support, no matter what it is, without citizenship, that's the first thing they ask you. It's like at the top of every internet page, citizenship number. You ain't got that, there's no step forward. It's just, you're screwed. Wow. Even medical care, yeah. So if, like, let's say I had an accident, and let's say you had an accident, same accident, you have citizenship in Israel. So you have like, what do you call it? But basically you have coverage. You probably pay like maybe 500 shekels, maybe like 1,000 shekels. I'd be paying like 5,000, 10,000. Yeah, it's, well, citizenship.
Okay.
Very screwed.
That's very much by design.
No, listen, they designed this system in Israel to a T. These guys thought about everything. Yeah.
Very much by design. Okay, so it became apparent that the Hebrew Israelite that had established a community there were no longer welcome with this new government installation.
There are many new government installations. These guys, they switch it up like every 4 years, and you better hope that the guy who comes in likes you, because if not, then he just goes, yeah, whatever you thought y'all had in the process, whatever, dead.
So you and the two sisters that I know were born and raised in Israel.
Yeah, born and raised.
And the older sister that I met as well?
Yeah, she's born and raised in Israel. No, she's born and raised in Israel. Let's just say that. She's born and raised in Israel. But yeah, her political citizenship situation is different from ours. Because she's from a different, like a different system that they had implemented. By the time I was born, then that system had already been cut off. I
see. Okay, so even though you and your two sisters were born and raised in Israel, you technically are not citizens.
Yeah, they don't grant you citizenship based on you living there. You being
very interesting. And total, how many is in your family between you and your dad? I mean, your dad and your mom.
Between my dad and my mom, it's 3 of us.
Oh, okay. And then, like, how many siblings do you have?
In total, I have 9 siblings in total.
Okay. So you also have a big family as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a big family, but like, when I was little, my brothers and them left to the States, so it's kind of like, you have brothers, but you don't know these people like that, you know? Like, even though they're your brothers, and there's a connection there, it's just like a disconnect, where it's like...
Because there's so much older.
Also, it's like, It's like it'd be funny if you had a twin sister who lived in Alaska and you met. It's like, yeah, you're my sister, but our life is just so different.
Okay, so talk to me about what life was like in Israel.
I think from childhood, it was lit. Like childhood, it was, you had the playground, like it was very communal. Like
Playground.
it was very communal. Like you didn't want much but to just go outside. All your friends, they hung out the same places. It was like, you didn't want for much when you was a child because you had a place where all the kids hung out. You had like a freeze cup store. You know what freeze cups are, right? The cup with the frozen juice in it. Very simple, freeze cups.
Okay, we call it's the cup with the frozen Kool-Aid when I was coming up.
Every country has a different name for these things. It's crazy. But we had freeze cups. Like we talked about this on a podcast the other day. It was so lit because that's all you really wanted. And then like the older you got, the more you understood. Like the more I understood, like the darker things got. And I was like, jeez, man, something has to change. But all in all,
what was your education like?
Education?
What was your interacting with other, people in Israel? What was that like?
Education in the beginning was really lit because we have our, so we had two schools. So we had like the New Kingdom School of Holiness. That was a lit school. That's the one I went to in the beginning. I think that really shaped the person I am today also. Because it was more about like critical thinking and like all those math, science or whatever.
So you did not go to the local public schools. You went to your community schools.
So our community had two schools in the beginning. We had one. Okay. And then like that was like, it was like an unofficial school. It was just something everybody came together and we said we're going to teach these kids. So you had, because in the States, in our community, you have people from the States who had degrees in science, degrees in math, degrees in this and that. So let's at least utilize these degrees that we have.
Got it.
And like after that, then we had an official school built directly adjacent to our community. And so I only went to that school in like 4th grade. And that was like a shock to my system. First thing, way more children, like way more people than I ever met in my life. I'm like, yo, it's a lot of people. But also, I had to learn Hebrew, and I didn't speak a lick of Hebrew in 4th grade because all I knew was English, and everybody spoke English. My mom spoke English, and that was really it. So when you go, like, the basic where it's like, mom, dad, can I get this? Like we had like certain words that were just embedded in our upbringing. But when I went to, we call it Aqua, it's called the Brotherhood School in Israel, super lit. But when I got there in like 4th grade, it was a shock, man, because you had to learn everything over. You have to learn math over. Like the math they do in Israel is much different from the math they do here. The math they do in the States is very different. So you just like learning everything over. The only upside was my mom used to have us reading in English all day, like on the go to summer and whatnot. So like my English was, in 4th grade, I was reading at like a 6th, 7th grade level. And from there it was just, so that was like my edge that I had on people. But outside of that, it was just tough.
Okay, I just want to clarify something. At a certain point, you were being educated within your community, and then at what age were you being educated outside of your community?
Me and my sisters, it was a bit of a situation. So we could only start, I started in 4th, my sister started in 3rd. My youngest sister, she started in 1st though.
Okay.
That's just how old she was.
And then just interacting with people in your city who were not part of your community, was it smooth sailing?
Most people are, and like we come from a small town. Like the community is in a small town. So
what's the name of the town?
Dimona, okay. Israel. Check it out, it's lit. But most of the people in Dimona like know of our community, and most people like it's a small town thing. So most people who live there, grew up there, kind of situation. So like even from like people who are older, younger, they all know of our community because it's a group of black people, can't really mess them. And since we're the only black people, can't really mess us. So you see a black person in Dimona, 99% of the times that's a Hebrew. And so yeah, it was kind of smooth sailing. People are people. As long as you do them good, people do good. And it's like you're people. So it wasn't like no stigma. You have kids and stuff. It's like, oh, Kushi. It's like when white people call you nigga. It's like Kushi. It's like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it comes from the Ethiopians. I think it's Ethiopians, the Kush. So the Kushites, it's a play on words. They call you Kushi. It means like that white people call you nigga. Yeah. But at that point, they stopped doing that because, well, they actually just scared of you.
What is the draw to Israel? Because like your family moved to Israel, but then you have other people that, you know, like you said, are in DC, they're in Ghana, you know. What's the draw to Israel?
The draw to Israel is, it's a land that was promised. It's like a promised land. But also, it's like, I've been in the Kenya jurisdiction for 2 years now. There's like, it's because of my family or whatever. But you can tell people who go from like DC, Atlanta, when they get to Israel, it's like, I grew up there, so it's not a little sparkle in my eyes. These guys like, yo, this is the best thing I've ever, like this is unimaginable. And they've heard about it, stories, heard people come back, but it's like, it's this community kind of situation where you know, you just feel like home in a way. It's like a home that you've never been to. And it's that everyone looks like me. And I know if I ever need something, there's an unlimited amount of people I can go to that'll just take care of me. Like you don't need to go home to drink water. You don't need to go home to eat food. You just say, yo, I'm hungry. And someone's like, all right, come in, we have a dinner. Come here. What you need? You need something? Here. So we have our own print shop. We have our, like, all these things, all these different small services. We have our own clinic. I was born in that clinic. We call it the Beit Chaim, the House of Life. You don't need to go to the hospital to get deliver your child, because like we have our own. So all of these components, it just make it so you don't have to go nowhere. But and everyone has your best interest in mind, and that's a feeling of safety that you just don't have nowhere else. Like even in Kenya, it's not Israel. As much as I love Israel, as much as I love Kenya, it's not Israel. And I mean, I don't want it to be, but like I'm saying, there's this certain magic that you have in Israel that you just don't have anywhere else.
I like that. I like how that sounds. And I know that life is not perfect, but it does sound like that's how life should be.
Yeah, I mean.
So you've been in Kenya for 2 years now. What has life been like for you here? What was that integration process like?
I told somebody the other day, my 2 years in Kenya has felt like a lifetime of experiences, because it's, man. Explain. In the beginning, it was tough because people call you like Mzungu, and I'm just like, bro, listen, don't call me that, because I know what it means. Stop
telling people what Mzungu means.
Mzungu means foreigner, invader. Basically talking about the British people who came here, who have accents. So they think anyone with an accent, they call them, oh, you're Mzungu, you're a foreigner, you're an invader. I'm just like, bro, I can't be an invader. I look like you. You can't play the same kind of games with me because I have a different accent. And so like that part, I was like, all right, that's crazy. But I think in terms of like integration, it was really easy. I adapt very, like my family, we adapt very well to like whatever our surrounding is.
You learn Swahili?
A little bit. But,
a little bit? Yeah. What was it like making friends here? I know you do have like a friend network. You got
a business network.
You got a friend network.
I got them to be friends, eesh, man. Now I got making friends here is tough. Only be like friends here and dating here is two tough things, especially as a foreigner. Because it was like I was telling my brother this the other day. I was like, bro, no matter how much this person likes you, tell you they like you, whatever. There's an inkling in the back of your mind that goes, if you didn't have what you had, would they still be here? Or if you couldn't provide what you can provide, would they still be here? And like whether your accent, because your accent to a lot of people here, it means this person has access to things I don't have access to, or this person can do things for me. And like no matter how much someone tells you they love you or they like you or whatever, or they trust you, none of that. There's always this feeling of, imagine everything you have left right now, would they still be here? Or if you didn't have your accent, would they still be as interested in you? So it's like, it's all based upon something. It's not you. And that is scary a little bit, even with friendships. Because, I mean, a lot of people, we talk, we hang around, months go by, and it's like, oh, Yatsiliel, I need 10K. And it's like,
really?
I don't know you that well. Like, even my boys back in Israel, my friends wouldn't call me like, Tilly, I need $100. I'd be, because like, there's no explanation. I'd go, why? And they go, oh, I need this. So it's like, everything was just fake. Everything was just planned. It was all just fake. And that's kind of tough. So it kind of just discourages you from just even like, nothing's organic. Everything feels a little bit, you have to look at everything twice. And that's not fun. Like when you have to take everything someone says and you just like with a grain of salt.
Do you have any Kenyan friends?
Oh yeah, I have a few, a very small handful.
Okay, a handful is nice. You don't need a whole gang.
But most of these people I met through other people I trust. Like they're their friends and they become my friends. Like yeah, that's most of my network just come from people who I trust, people they trust, situations like that.
Okay, so as someone who's 19 years old, you just got here. Yeah, well, wait a minute, you're 19 now?
I'm turning 20 in March.
Okay.
I tell everybody I'm 19.
I said Gen Z.
That's crazy. It was like women in there. I was like, what's his Instagram? But now if I go to the States, I'm like illegal. I can't even buy a beer.
Look, they already know my age. So if I said I'm old enough to be your mama, people can make those inferences. They can do math.
Everybody got their kinks, you know. Anyway. So now that I'm 19,
okay, so that means that you'll be 20. So let's just say you came here when you were 18. Yeah. Right? So you out in these Kenyan streets.
Don't say it like that.
But I want your perspective, because there are people who want to move here with their families. And they have teenage kids, they have kids who are adults. You know what I'm saying? Are young adults. And it's just like, okay, why would you leave your whole social network and come to a new place at that age? Especially when your social network is so important. So given that you came here 18, now you're about to be 20 in a couple of months.
You almost have like an evil laugh.
I'm sorry. Okay, talk to us about navigating. You talked about the social network, but navigating dating, your dating pool. What is that like as a heterosexual male?
Straight as a ruler, but it's a bit of a situation. Like I've tried. To me, I'm a bit of an experimental kind of guy.
Okay,
I can just try stuff out. So in Israel,
what you try? What?
No, listen. So in Israel, I've tried like dating white girls, and I was like, I know for a fact this ain't for me. I can't do this. So I got to Kenya, and I was like, black women, get at me, ukawapi. Like, listen.
Ukawapi, what? Which means where are you located?
Where are you?
Where are you?
Send the Addy. No, but I've tried dating like girls that don't have much. Let's say humble begin. Let's say people are humble in their beginnings. I've dated women like that, and I found that to be very exhausting. Why? Because with the accent, then it's like, oh, can you send me this? Like it's very, very needy. Very like you're sponsoring everything. It feels very like it's like having a kid. It's like having a kid who just needs you to do everything. And it's like, I don't like that. I like people, like, even if you don't have much, you can take care of yourself. You find a way to take care of yourself, because you're an adult. I mean, what the heck? And since I'm not dating no one under 21, geez, man, like, you out of school, you working, figure stuff out. But what I found the sweet spot is kind of, I'd say high end, but I don't want to call them high end girls, but yeah. They got their stuff right. Your lawyers, your this, your that, your flight attendant. Listen, I like them when they have their own thing going on. You just in addition to the pot, but they have their own thing cooking, and you just I like that because she go, oh, I got lunch today. Like it make you feel good because you know she don't need your money. Like you know she don't need your money. She got her own money. She got more. I've dated chicks with way more money than me, and I'm just like, bro, how the heck did I get here? And she don't care because she got her own thing going on. Like that makes me happy in a way. Because I don't feel like I'm being used. And that's a scary thing when you find you're being used. And you don't know. Because they never tell you just up front, I'm using you. It's always like, oh, my this, my that, can you help? I don't like that.
Okay. So you already saying that, at 20 years old, dating in these Nairobi streets has not been easy. That's it in a nutshell.
It's not easy for nobody, but I think for a foreigner, it's much more complicated. But also, there's benefits. Like it's a give and take.
What's the benefit?
Well,
What's the benefit? Go ahead.
So
You tell it all of it. Just tell it all.
Here's the thing, right? Without the accent, I'm still quite charming, handsome, tall. So listen, if there was a package, you'd have my face on it. All right. My accent just puts icing on the cake. All right. So it just allows me to get in contact with some people that it'll be harder for regular guys. You get in certain rooms with regular guys. There's certain like benefits of it because they just assume you have money. I use the assumption to my advantage.
Okay, you can pull more ladies with the accent and the foreign.
Hey, I pull ladies.
Do you have a passport?
I have a passport.
I'm asking because the
I got
whole
to Kenya
Israeli
by
situation.
like swimming, you know.
No. I mean, if you don't have Israeli citizenship and you don't have
American.
Do you have a U.S. passport?
Yes.
Hey. Okay. No. I mean, I wouldn't think that they would have applied for a passport for their kids.
We have to do something. We have to maneuver.
I know that's right.
We have to. Get
so
it
you
done.
do have a U.S. passport.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, your accent kind of it helps you in a way. It kind of hinders you also. It's like with certain people, your accent is like it works completely against you. Like if you go to a party or stuff, most times I'm just quiet, dancing, doing my thing. The second you open your mouth, just like and you can almost see. I was telling somebody this the other day. Like if someone thinks you're attractive, they come talk to you, or whatever. The second you open your mouth with an accent, it's like a little sparkle in the eye, where it's like I can get something for free. He about to buy all my drinks, and he about to buy my rent. He about to no, it's so real.
Okay, I have to take what you say at face value, but what I will also say is that a lot of what you describe is what people are experiencing all over the world.
I didn't say they aren't. I'm just saying this how it is in Nairobi.
This is how it is.
But here's the thing though, Nairobi's a different city. I have to say, New York is crazy, probably Tel Aviv is crazy, Jerusalem is crazy, but Nairobi, man. The thing about Nairobi is they call it one big bedroom for a reason. It's like the girl you're talking to isn't your girlfriend. She's talking to you on Sunday, him on Tuesday, him on Wednesday. And it's not even for gain. It's just because married guys here are something else, I have to say. These married men in Kenya, I've heard too many crazy stories. I'm like, yo, these guys are reckless. But it is what it is. Like people sum it up under, this is Nairobi, man. You just go with it. It's like, it is what it is. Your girlfriend cheating on you with some bum from wrong guy, say less. It's what it is. Like they tell me you can't get your feelings involved. Like the second you get touchy-feely, like somebody just told me that today, you ain't got no feelings. I'm like, bro, this is Nairobi. Feelings will get you hurt. Feelings will get you shot. Feelings will have you down bad.
All right, so you're not giving no hope to nobody who want to move.
Listen.
Okay, but he's telling us the real from his perspective.
And from my perspective, listen, right? As you can see, I'm quite of a handsome looking guy. So I don't have a problem getting women from there's no range. There's no, oh, you just get these kind of women. Oh, it's just these girls you talk to. Oh, listen, no matter who it is, no matter what's going on, you have to protect your feelings, all right? Like you have to move. I think it's more like serious in Nairobi because the threat of being finessed is just way higher.
Okay.
But I think you just have to move in a way where you're just doing what's best for yourself. Where it's like you're not just out here splurging, living life like that. And if you got it like that, you got it like that. But be smart about whatever you're doing, because there's people whose profession is what they do for a day to day is to con people that sound like me and you. So
okay, I understand. I didn't forgot what we was talking about. Okay.
Dating in Nairobi.
Dating in Nairobi.
Hey, it's not for the weak.
Wow.
It's not for the. I'm telling you, it's not for the weak and the naive. It's not. You will be finessed. You will be finessed.
You heard it. You heard it straight. You heard it straight from Yatsiliel.
Mr. Briggs.
Mr. Briggs.
Yes.
For those who are nasty. No, I'm joking. I wish we could stay here and continue the conversation. This has been wonderful. I'm so glad you showed up and you agreed to be on the show. Is there anything else? See, because the show is designed to encourage people of African descent to return to the motherland. Is there anything else you would like to add before we close?
although it is ups and downs, Nairobi is nothing. Well, Kenya is a beautiful country. Like, don't let the harsh realities of, some people, because it's not all people. There's really good people here. I've met some amazing people. But Nairobi's a beautiful place, beautiful city, and Kenya is a more beautiful country. There's things you can experience here that you just won't get anywhere else. And there's power in being Black here. You can see it. You know, you have people that's proud to be Kenyan, proud to be Black. And when you look at all the businesses and you look at Black-owned businesses, it really does encourage you to just kind of keep pushing. And yeah, man, welcome to Nairobi. Welcome to Nairobi.
And there you have it. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of BLAXIT to Africa. May you thrive, may you move with integrity, and may you be inspired to BLAXIT to Africa. Until next time. Nuts.
I'm just saying that. City.